Pearson. I am the strategic account manager at the Social Value Portal. So I only recently joined the Social Value Portal. I come from a procurement background, and I spent about 7 years in public sector procurement within local government. Since 2015, I've been focusing specifically on social value. Not only is it of interest to me from a professional perspective, but I'm really passionate as well about trying to create social equality from a personal perspective. So Sib and I hail from sunny South Africa. So historically, as many of you may know, the country has been facing a lot of social inequality. So yes, that's me. Really looking forward to sharing the presentation with you and telling you more about how we at the Social Value Portal are working with both public and private sector organizations to drive more social equality.
Thank you, Cindy. Nicola.
Hi, yeah, so I am from Social Enterprise UK, which is the national body for social enterprise. We represent the whole sector. We do a various amount of work, from research, understanding the state of the sector, to policy influence on a governmental level. We also are a trade body, so we connect other sectors to social enterprises. So for example, our Bi-Social Corporate Challenge, which SIBS is a part of as a local extension in the Southwest region. And that's about high profile corporates committing to spend with social enterprises. So putting their supply chain spend towards supporting social enterprises. Myself, I work in the enterprise team, and I lead on the relationship with our built environment industry corporations, but I also lead our housing association and university networks at SCUK too.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Nicola. GD.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I'll just introduce myself, and I have my partner here as well, Felix. So my name is Jide Alunga, and we're from BID Consultancy. So BID Consultancy is an SME set up in Bristol, and with the main focus of supporting SMEs and mid-sized businesses to help with the procurement process. So basically to help with the jargon, help you understand what the public regulations are, and to ensure that you have the right advice and the right understanding of the processes to ensure that you can bid successfully and win work through the social enterprise route, as well as just as an entity in itself. So thank you.
Fantastic. So yes, we're going to run through a number of these things. We do have a number of slides with us. So yeah, Ben, sorry. For some reason, the presentation was blurry on my side and then very clear on the other side. So Ben is navigating us today.
Bluetooth keyboard's just connected. Okay.
Brilliant. So these are just some of the topics, a bit about the background about Social Enterprise UK and the Biosocial, identifying some of the opportunities, the model, as I explained to you, and what Social Enterprise UK Place is all about, and what is the difference between the Place and the West of England Social Enterprise Network, the sector opportunities, a little bit more about the memberships and the markets. Thanks, Ben. Oh wow, thank you. That's great. So this is Victor, Lord Victor Adiyole, Chair of Social Enterprise UK, and through many of the key interests, it has really been about the contributions of social enterprises to the economy, as that trade being about £2 million, but furthermore being a contributor towards the employment part. And SUK have also done a regional report looking at the Southwest in terms of all the jobs that social enterprises create, the economic value of social enterprises, specifically in the Southwest, the sectors, the challenges, and the opportunity. So as much as at times they can do a national perspective, they can also then provide a very local perspective. So there are about 100,000 social enterprises in the UK, contributing about £60 billion to UK GDP. So in our little things that we do, when we are put into a whole, clearly there's so much that we are achieving. I know we've got Alan with us, and Alan is a member of Social Enterprise UK.
Which way you put it?
Yeah, that's for the football. Okay.
But sometimes I make it with no socks.
Oh, yeah, you must put socks, otherwise it's going to smell. Thanks, Ben. You want to move to the next one?
5 tips.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
Yeah, before that?
Yep.
No, before that one. Yeah, there we go.
Sorry.
Yeah. So when this started, and I'm sure Nicola can definitely highlight a bit more on this. When this started, this had about seven partners. How many partners is the scheme currently at now, Nicola? Okay, yeah.
Papa,
Put your socks.
It's 24.
24. Wow. And that's just companies that are joining at the back of really knowing that they want to use their procurements to do some social good. So from 7 that were I'd say probably like the core organizations. You can't see the slides, Michelle? Are you watching from your phone? Can you hear us? We will be sending out these slides.
but which
after.
way you put it?
This side. We will be sending out the slides shortly after. So if you can't see them at the minute, I do apologize. But just keep us posted because we do have other slides also coming along. So maybe you can't see these ones, but I hope you can see the next one. Camedo, I'm on the phone. Okay.
No, it's a computer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm speaking on the computer. So at the minute with 24 members. So what's the intention behind Social Enterprise UK and its membership? Well, as you can see from the circle, the first part is really about its members, and it speaks the voice of its members, and the members really have got a contributing part in the direction of the organization. And then they've got what's called place. So in terms of places, those are different social enterprise hotspots, and there's many different around the country. And Bristol was one of the first few places a few years ago. That's slowed down, and when it slowed down, I joined Social Enterprise UK just to reignite and bring that momentum back to Bristol. And thus, we then thought that probably just doing it in Bristol wouldn't be sufficient. It's more about doing it within the Southwest. But how can we make sure that the program is sustainable? And that's the link between the biosocial. And in terms of the markets, it's really looking at that public sector, business to business, and business to consumer. That's a cross-sector relationship. So, in terms of social enterprises will be selling to customers, or social enterprises selling to big business. And then how does the public sector engage within buying from social enterprises? And the key here is really about attracting the labor market to join the social enterprise as employees or as employers, whichever way, but to actually make that sector really grow. And in terms of the retention is, the good that all the different social enterprises do, it retains staff, because we've seen the huge change from a very capitalistic society and the growing demand now for more social economy. And some people, no matter how much you may want to pay them, they want to see what's the moral good that their job is actually creating. So we're finding that social enterprises are really at the core of job retention. And not only is it about just job retention, but we're seeing that they're able to employ people that have been furthest away from the market, and those people that, you know, they are a net contributor to skills and talent, and they've just felt so left behind within the wider private sector. And as Nicola was saying about what SUUK then does, is really looking at that evidence and influence. So how can they influence governments? And we've seen that with the whole COVID fund. You know, if you want to know why social enterprises was not missed out, it was because Social Enterprise UK was there lobbying government to make sure that, hey, look, you're just saying charities. You're just saying businesses. You're missing out on this sector called social enterprises. And those people are going to feel like that application is not for them. So you need to make something that's bespoke for social enterprises, or if you're doing charities, it needs to be charities and social enterprises. And that's what SUK actually have done, which is such an invaluable thing when you have someone that can lobby at that extent to get these things moving. And equally, the work that Cindy has been involved with about social value. You know, the previous person from Social Enterprise UK, Claire Dove, who now works as the Crown Rep supporting social enterprises, wanted to look at the Crown Service and look at how they can improve their social value. And improving that social value, engage social enterprises in the survey, in the feedback, and all of that has contributed to some of the great changes that we look forward to hearing from Cindy. Thanks, Ben. So this is more about the social enterprise place. So at the time of this presentation, there was 28, but I'm sure there's a whole lot more now. And they stem all the way from Ashton, Moore, Plymouth, Bristol, Cornwall, Digbeth, Sunderland, Oxford, you know, all of those places. And that's a network where we meet maybe every 3 months. We discuss what's going on. We find strategies, we find ways to work with each other. And that network is absolutely, you know, invaluable. And as Nicholas said, you know, it influences policy because they're not just getting it from Bristol. They're not just getting it from Sunderland. They're getting it across the country throughout the 28 networks. And that is what they use then to influence local governments and local authorities. Thanks, Ben.
It's the mouse, I bet.
It's all right, Ben. You're not going to blame me today. So in terms of areas of social enterprise impacts, we've seen that, and this is not the most recent stats that's available from SUK from the Southwest, but what we're seeing is that there's a large portion of social enterprises. They focus their services on health and well-being, children and young people, or they are other neighborhood centers. And in terms of the business, arts, food, going green and housing, we see that there's an appetite, but that sector is not as much. And in the next slide, I'm going to show you, when I explain a little bit more about why this data is important. Thanks, Ben. I know there's one before that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in terms of understanding where social enterprises currently deliver and what the gaps are, we've been doing two things. So the first one is to speak to buyers and to get the spending catalog. The spending catalog highlights the things that, let's say for an example, Bristol University purchases. Yeah. So if it's toilet paper, we'll get that list that they spend, you know, 100,000 on toilet paper. Or if it's gardening services, maintenance, it will say garden services, they spend £1 million on that service. If it's cleaning, we'll get that whole list from them. If it's catering services, if it's surprisingly the university procure a lot of pizza and beer for the events and photography. So looking at that supply, we'll then speak with them and say, okay, right now, let's say that we had social enterprises that can do events, photography, security, mentoring, those kind of things. Based on the data that we have, we can say that in the Southwest, we've got these many, yeah? And then the university could say, okay, what we'll do is we'll make our spend available for security, cleaning, marketing, design, photography, pizza, beer, all of that kind of stuff available. And we're gonna commit to, no, Ben, if you can stay to the other, if you can stay at the previous thing, and we're gonna put that at £2 million, and then we'll speak to another buyer. So let's say City Council. City Council will give us their list, and they'll say the opportunities with us are here, 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 and we're gonna commit to 1 million. And then we'll speak to Woman Dixon, and Woman Dixon will say we've got jobs in construction, we've got venues. Once we've built them, we're looking for businesses that will be inside there delivering either food or school or this or that. And then we'll say how much you're willing to spend, and we'll put all of that sum together, and then we can say social enterprise, the Biosocial Corporate Challenge members in the Southwest want to commit to, let's say, £5 million spent to social enterprises. Now here's where the challenge comes in, and great to have Felix and Julie who are providing a solution about this, is that there's certain sectors where there's a high demand and a high value for services. But what we're finding is that social enterprises are not in that market. And that means then, if we can support social enterprises to understand where the market is, and they feel that they can pivot to deliver that service, the option on the opportunity of moving from zero to hero is very possible in that sense. Now, what is it that some of the large buyers have been saying is some of the issues? Well, it's about the risk, it's about the management and the coordination, it's about the capacity of social enterprises. Do they have enough people to deliver a contract of £1 million in catering? Do they have enough teams? Can they transport, bring the food on time? About health and safety, all of that stuff. The political support, thanks to SCUK, they are lobbying on that give social enterprises, they're just the same, they're just businesses, resilience to change. So that's why we provide that consultancy support as the Biosocial Corporate Challenge, and kind of just massage the buyers a little bit about, come on, test the market with them. They are ready. They're just businesses the same. The frameworks, the financial support about, being able to scale to meet that demand, the IT systems that social enterprises can actually need to be able to deliver some of those services. So this is what we found that some of the buyers have said, what's the challenges for them is these things here. So as a social enterprise, I hope that you can see that, the buyers want to buy, but they've just also got a few concerns. And if we can address these concerns, then the markets just becomes so much more available. Thanks, Ben. I'm going to leave the next section for Nicola, just to expand a little bit about the membership, the benefits of the membership, what's that all about, and just to expand a bit on some of the public-private sector influences that SUK has been doing so far. Is that all right, Nicola?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
So because the social enterprise sector is so varied, obviously social enterprises aren't an industry. They straddle lots of different industries. So we have a lot of different benefits that are for different types of organisations. So we have social enterprises, the traditional sense, that are members, and the ways that we support them is connecting them to one and each other. So we have events, usually obviously physical, but we also have a lot of virtual events that are coming up to see collaboration between social enterprises, connecting with one another. We also, in the beginning of COVID period, launched our first online forum, which is now exclusively for our members to be able to chat about specific topics. Initially started off with talking about the response to COVID and accessing different support, or considering how to pivot as an organisation, perhaps if they're struggling, or to share some success stories about how they're actually in high demand. So our role really is facilitating that connection between each other. We also provide a lot of resources to support. So it may be that you are a startup organisation and you're on your journey creating a social enterprise, or perhaps you're a traditional business that would like to convert to being a social enterprise. There's obviously lots of different ways you can go about that. There's lots to understand about the different legal structures, or even understanding stories of other social enterprises and how they've grown before. So we have a big content library online about being a social enterprise, what that means. And of course, in addition to that, we do have our research function at Social Enterprise UK, so you have access to all of the research findings that we have. So Sibs has really gone into quite a bit of detail about some of the results we found about like specific regions of the UK, how the social enterprise sector looks. So we've done that on a regional basis, national basis, and also international. Like we've have an ongoing study of the state of play of social enterprise in Nigeria at the moment, for example. So with being a part of the community, you have access to that peer-to-peer support, that information. Also, with being a member, particularly for those that work in the B2B markets, because we run the Biosocial Corporate Challenge, a big part of our work is finding all different types of social enterprises that can respond to what our corporates need to see. So we have, as I said before, 24 high profile corporations that are all eager to buy from social enterprises. So we'll have a list of highly recommended social enterprises that we're constantly talking to them about. And there's also the opportunity not only to be on that recommendation list, and being pointed to the right opportunities when they come up, you also have the chance of coming and pitching at events that we run for corporates, so that you can show that what services you have in maybe a particular category of spend. Like last month we did one about IT and digital, so we invited social enterprises that are in the digital space to come and pitch to our corporates so that they could potentially win contracts. You know, we also have a working group around diversity inclusion now, where we're trying to also look at the data we have around organisations that are run by individuals that come from Black, Afro-Caribbean background, or maybe a particular faith as well. So we're trying to get quite granular about also raising the profile of organisations that have those, that are led by people from those backgrounds, or support people, their beneficiaries are people from those backgrounds. And then there are different layers to the membership. So to go into what Sib's kind of broken down here, of we have our free membership for those that are earning less than £100,000 revenue per year, and then above that we have different tiers, and the first tier is like £175, and I think that goes up to 300k revenue per year or something like that. So depending on the amount of revenue that you have, it depends what kind of membership band you fit into. And then also depending on the type of organisation you are, so if you're a social enterprise, but you can also become a member if you are within the private sector completely, or whether you're a housing association. So there's a wider network of organisations that want to collaborate with the social enterprise space as well. So not only private sector, but housing, higher education. But yeah, I think the kind of bread and butter of our work is events, seeing collaboration in the sector, connecting, having that peer-to-peer support, providing knowledge, best practice research about the sector, influencing the government, so responding to what our community is asking for. And I think, is that a good enough summary for you, Sibs? Or yeah, I don't know how much time you wanted me to speak for, but You're on mute, Sib, so I can't hear anything you're saying.
Yes, that's it. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, if you just move past that, move past that, move past that. Yeah, so we've spoken about this. You know, if you want to find out more about the research that SUK have done in terms of procurement, in terms of the challenge of social enterprises, global economy, it's literally all there. Thanks, Ben. We missed something. Can you go back? The model. Just go slowly. Yeah. Go back. Yeah, there we go. So what is the model, and how do these things then come together? All right. So the bisocial corporate challenge, the bisocial West of England is the place network. So it's the extension of the place and making that wider beyond Bristol. And that includes, it's the whole of the Southwest, basically. And how that works is that the hub, let's say, would be Bristol, and then Bath would have another place, Plymouth would have a place, I don't know, Swindon would have a place, Cardiff would have a place, but we are all within the Southwest, because obviously I can't be everywhere. So everyone looks after their social enterprises that they know within their area. We as places are supported by Social Enterprise UK in the center. So we network with Social Enterprise UK, and we network with all the other places that are part of Social Enterprise UK. In terms of then how we link with the Bisocial Corporate Challenge and the social value. So we link with the Bisocial Corporate Challenge because that's more about procurements. And then we link with the social value because that's a strand of procurements, which is a bit different than the main form of procurement. So together, those then provide a means to being self-sustainable as a place, because normally the places were grant-led places, right? And therefore, if there's no grant, then the place can't do anything. So what Social Enterprise UK are pushing on is to make sure that all the places are self-sustainable. So therefore, that's the Bisocial Corporate Challenge. Those members would pay the local place, which would be the Bisocial West of England place. That would then help to grow this network. So right now, I'd say that we are recruiting because we need board members, we need people with a procurement background and things like that, project management, so that as a Bisocial West of England, we are able to deliver way beyond what the pilot is, because this is just a pilot, just to ignite this to the West of England. But the current members are interested in continuing that further. They'll have to pay an annual fee. Through the annual fee, we can cover costs and everything else. So, you know, this is not a one man band kind of thing. This is just the beginning of a network that we want to make wider, that will find a way to be self-sustaining. And really, you know, if you are in this call, if you're listening to this at a later point because it's recorded, we're really looking to grow this team. And by growing this team means that we can really work with the corporate challenge partners a lot better, and really then put them to task in terms of they buy and they spend, and really support social enterprises as much as possible. So thank you, Ben. If we go straight to Cindy's presentation, I think Adam is not with us. If he is, please let us know. But if you just skip and go to Cindy's presentation, and then we could take it from there just to explain about the social value portal.
Thanks very much, Siv. So hello again, everyone. And again, thanks for having me on to talk about the work that we're doing at the Social Value Portal. Next slide, please, Ben. Thanks very much. Wow. Okay. I'm not sure why that's a bit squash, but we'll push on. So the Social Value Portal is the market leader in social value measurement and reporting. I think our offer stems, you know, from the fact that we absolutely understand that there is willingness out there, both from buyers and from suppliers, in terms of working together in partnership to try and go the extra mile so that we can start to address issues around social inequality, but also looking at inclusive growth and how we can work together to drive that. So in terms of our work, we work across sectors, public, private, and social sector. We provide a measurement tool, which is called the National TOMS framework, and it stands for Themes, Outcomes, and Measures, that really pulls together the key aspects that people are trying to work on and achieve in terms of social value. We provide procurement support, so predominantly to our public sector clients, where we work with them to help them understand how they can use social value and the Public Services Social Value Act to drive more value for money, because ultimately that is their role. We know that what gets measured gets done. So we also provide an interactive contract management solution, so that all the effort that goes into procurement and into working with suppliers and bidders in terms of securing social value commitments is not lost and doesn't fall off a cliff once the contract gets awarded. And then finally, we also do, we provide services in terms of reporting. So that works two ways. Our contract management system enables people to get live reporting, which is really a big change, because, you know, having your finger on the pulse at any given time in terms of understanding where you're at in terms of delivery with the suppliers that you're working, and more importantly, what benefits you've actually secured for communities, is fundamental in terms of success and measuring the impact of our efforts. Because, you know, we can continue plowing away, but if we're not measuring our progress, we don't know how we're progressing, we don't know what we're achieving, and most importantly, we don't know what and how we need to change to improve, and that's fundamental. We've also, over the last year or so, been able to map the TOMS framework against the global goals, which is proving quite quite key for a lot of our private sector clients. Thanks, Ben. Next slide, please.
Sorry for today.
That's all right. Be cracking the whip in a second. You can just keep pressing it until the rest of the slide comes up. Thanks, Ben. Perfect, thank you. So we've been operating in the market for quite a while now, and we've been supporting, like I said, multiple organizations and growing at a really, really good rate, which is really positive, I think, because it really is testament to the fact that people are out there, they are looking at social value, they are acknowledging that they need help, and they're actually reaching out to organizations that can help them on their journey in terms of developing their approach. So last year, well, at the end of last year, we just did a quick summary in terms of the activity that was happening through the Social Value Portal. And some of the things that we picked up was that, you know, in the last couple of years, we've put through £13.8 billion worth of contracts through the portal. 2.1 billion of that 13.8 billion was actually local spend. So because of social value and because of the TOMS framework, we were able to drive that amount of money to local organizations based on the public authorities that were procuring. We also unlocked 705,000 hours worth of volunteering, which again is fantastic because it's testament to the fact that there is a culture that is in place across the UK. You know, people do want to contribute, but when they know that they're doing it and it's also helping them to win business, it's a win-win situation for everyone. We've provided or enabled the creation of 1,480 jobs for disadvantaged people. We've put through a total of 1,597 projects, and that is across England, Scotland, and Wales. And in total, on average, every time we run a procurement exercise and looking at the total volume of contracts that we put through, we've generated at least 25% additional value for our clients. And that is phenomenal, because what that is doing is that it is helping people understand that by focusing on the wider aspects and not just price, there is so much more that we can achieve. Thanks, Ben. Next slide, please. So in terms of an overview of social value, we can skip this one and move on to the next one. Just to give you a quick kind of idea in terms of what's been happening. So we had the act that came out, and you know, fundamentally that act was put in place to actually open up supply chains for social enterprises. And since then, we've seen an uptake of the Act. Now, not all organizations have progressed as quickly, but there is activity happening in the market. In 2018, central government published the Civil Society Strategy for England, and it really talks about people, places, and partnerships. And in terms of the partnerships, it looks specifically at the social sector, the public sector, and the private sector working together collectively to try and not just positively impact the lives of people within communities, but also to develop places and to help grow places in an inclusive way. And what the civil society strategy advocates for is that in order to create thriving communities, we do need to work together, and we do need to start empowering people so that they can start to develop those places. And it really says that social value is actually at the heart of everything that government should be focusing on. Thanks, Ben. Next slide, please. From a local government perspective, in 2018, the Local Government Association published the National Procurement Strategy, and social value was absolutely part of its ambitions. And as you can see, there are three themes: achieving community benefits, showing leadership, and behaving commercially. So in terms of achieving community benefits, it really highlighted three specific areas. One was obtaining social value. The second was engaging local SMEs and micro businesses. And the third was enabling BCSE engagement. So really looking at how local government procurement could act as a catalyst for change. And what happened in 2018 as well was that the LGA decided to endorse the National TOMS framework, and they partnered with us at the Social Value Portal to develop the TOMS framework as part of the National Social Value Task Force. And they are now promoting this as a methodology for councils to measure the benefits that they are securing through their procurement activity. The LGA have also started or actually become sponsors of the National Social Value Task Force since 2018, and the actual chair of the task force for social value, is also the chair of the National Advisory Group for procurement in local government. So it's really great in terms of having that oversight across both networks. Yes, Sid.
Yeah, I just wanted to chip in
Sure.
on that note. So Bristol City Council uses the TOMS framework, and that's really been a great benefit to the fact that they were already using this framework. And the reason that I say it's a benefit is when you look at the construction that's happening in the city, for example, what's happening in St. Paul's, and Michelle, you are right next to some of that development that's happening there. Is if we don't have the capacity, thus I'm saying that the Buy Social West of England thing is we are growing the capacity so we can address these things and not miss out on these opportunities. It's more about chasing city council to find out if that organization or that building, that company that's building right in St. Paul's, what is it that they're doing to meet their social value? Because in their social value, then that says that if you that local business that's got your small store nearby and they're building, but they're looking for stores to go inside their main building, then maybe they should consider you because you're already there. And by knowing some of these things, then that's where we can then shape our neighborhoods. So thus the social value links to the places. But currently we're seeing no coordination about these things taking place. And therefore you're just seeing buildings come up and people are not engaged. You don't understand the opportunities. Then you see other businesses all of a sudden are all in there. You just feel so left out because all of this part about social value. Now, social value is an add-on procurement. So when someone wins a bid, they need to deliver 10% of this. So then either they need to find businesses to help them to achieve this, right? So it's not about writing a bid or anything like that. The ones that have won the bid need to deliver these things. So that's why this is a bit separate from procurement, but it's part of it because, if you are aware of it, then you can really tap in. And that's what we're trying to help local businesses to be able to tap into this. And this is what Ben will be doing just around the St. Paul's area, finding out what those businesses are doing about their social value, finding out what City Council is measuring them on, and finding out where is that thing going. And if they're not meeting that target, then how do we make sure that we can make that happen? Sorry, Cindy, just a good time just to explain for the local.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Ben. We can move on to the next slide. Next one, please. So the TOMS framework is based on 5 themes, 20 outcomes, and 48 measures. It's a single standard and a single measurement framework that levels the playing field for all businesses. So it provides a comprehensive solution in terms of helping people identify what aspects they can deliver, because we absolutely appreciate that every organization is different and every person wants to contribute something different. But what we do want is for all of those contributions to link into and support the outcomes that we're trying to achieve within a particular place and for a particular community. Thanks, Ben. Next slide. You can just keep pressing it until thank you. One more. Perfect. Thank you. So the TOMS framework is structured in terms of themes. And as you can see, the themes are quite generic. It's jobs, growth, social, environment, and innovation. Then we have a list of outcomes that are linked to those particular themes. Some of them are around local employment, more opportunities for local SMEs and BCSEs. So as you can see, when it comes to growth, we at the Social Value Portal absolutely see SMEs and BCSEs at the heart of that local economic growth. More working with the community, supporting vulnerable people to live independently, reducing carbon emissions, and reducing air pollution. And then what we have is a list of measures that are actually linked to those outcomes. So for example, how would you actually create more opportunities for local SMEs under the theme of growth? Well, you need to spend in local supply chains. that's the key driver, because the more we can start to engage local SMEs and BCSEs in the supply chain, the more positive impact we'll have, not just because they're usually based in those local economies, they have the local knowledge, but when it comes to social enterprises, they're businesses with a social purpose. So they obviously, by their very nature, are going to go the extra mile and deliver above and beyond the core contract requirements. And then what we do is we have units and we have values. So in terms of social value and implementing it within public sector procurement in an open, fair and transparent way, the TOMS framework provides that platform. Thanks, Ben. Next slide, please.
I'll make sure I get a hardwired keyboard for next time.
Thank you. So what I've actually done here is I've just pulled out the section around more opportunities for local, micro, small, medium enterprises and BCSEs. And I've added it to the slide just to give you an idea of the specific things that we at the Social Value Portal are promoting in terms of supporting the sector. So what happens is we work with public sector clients. They adopt the TOMS framework as part of their procurement process. So when they tender contracts, like Sib mentioned, more and more contracting authorities are allocating weighting to social value as part of the decision-making criteria. So previously you had price and quality, and that was it. And more often than not, it was price that was really dominant in that decision-making criteria. Now, there's been a shift in the market in terms of public sector procurement, in that we're now looking beyond price. And in addition to just the quality of the core service, we're looking at social value around the additional benefits that can be brought to local communities by virtue of winning that contract. So for example, if a council like Bristol is running a procurement exercise, what they will say is price is maybe 40%, so quality is 50%, and then social value is 10%. So for 10% of that contract, the bidders will have to submit a social value proposal using the TOMS framework. So like I said, there's about 48 core measures that we have in the TOMS framework, and these that you have in front of you are some of them. And as you can see, for opportunities for this sector, we are promoting spending money with BCSEs as part of the supply chain. So really subcontracting part of the contract to organizations like yourself, providing expert business advice to yourself. So if you had to pay for legal advice, for marketing advice, website design, for example, we absolutely appreciate that not every business wants to write a check. So as an alternative, they can start helping you in terms of supporting you with that expertise. So as opposed to spending money on that, you're able to redirect those funds elsewhere. There's also a big focus in terms of helping the sector around achieving net zero carbon by 2030, because what we actually understand is going forward, that's going to be a huge player in terms of the way contracts are actually awarded. Because if government has this ambition, they're going to start to focus on organizations that can be part of their supply chain and are also able to help them achieve this ambition. So there's something about sharing the expertise, sharing the research that they're developing, etc. There's also things around equipment and resources donated to VCSEs voluntary hours. You know, Sib, you mentioned you're looking for people to sit on your board, etc. So, you know, wouldn't it be great if there was somebody who had a specific set of expertise that you needed that would do that free of charge as part of a contract that they were winning? And this is exactly what we're trying to promote. So you can see it really is focused on trying to encourage prime providers to get more VCSEs in their supply chain. Next slide, please, Ben. Thank you. So this then is a snapshot of the whole National TOMS framework. What I really want to point out is, in addition to providing this framework, the council will basically say to providers, here's a framework of aspects that are really important to us. We're not going to be prescriptive in terms of what you need to deliver, because actually from a public procurement perspective, you know, it's always better to leave it to suppliers to select social value that is within their capacity and capability to deliver. So the suppliers will select from this list what social value they can then deliver. But what we have done is that we've now added an extra option. So although councils won't be prescriptive, what they can now do is add a multiplier effect. So if you have a look at that last column, so in addition to, for example, all of these social value measures and the proxies, say for example, if a supplier, if a council wanted to prioritize spending with VCSEs in their supply chain, they could add a multiplier effect of 2 or 3. So where, for example, a bidder said, I will spend £50,000 of this contract with local VCSEs. If the council added a multiplier effect to that, that would be a bit more attractive to the bidder, because it means that they could score higher in this tender if they selected that particular measure. So that's another way where we're not trying to be prescriptive to the market, because the last thing we want to do is to put, you know, businesses out of business, and knowing as well that you as social enterprises will also be bidding for contracts. The last thing we want to do is shoehorn any bidder into a particular measure. But there is different ways that the council can influence and start to help shape the delivery of social value. Thanks, Ben. Next slide. Just keep clicking through. Thank you. So one of the things that I did want to point out to you is, like I mentioned earlier, you know, we work and host and organize the National Social Value Task Force, and work very closely with the LGA. And recently we were commissioned to help develop these toolkits, and these are free to download from our website. So there's one guide that is focused specifically on SMEs and VCSEs in terms of helping them understand how they can submit strong social value bids. And the other one then is for buyers, in terms of helping them to understand how they can start to engage more SMEs and VCSEs when they run public procurement exercises specifically around social value. So I think Siv is going to share these slides afterwards. The links are there. You can download them, like I said, free of charge from our website. Next slide, please. So very quickly, I've just pulled out a little extract here so you can cast your eyes over it. like I said, this guide really clear steps in terms of how can you prepare your guide as a social enterprise. If you're coming up against, say, large players in the market, it really helps you understand the things that you can tap into, because ultimately you're working locally in the community. You're a business with a social purpose, so you're always doing good. That's what makes you a social enterprise. You know, earlier Sib mentioned about social enterprises offering opportunities to disadvantaged people. Social enterprises are more likely to give second chances to reoffenders. All of those aspects, if you're bidding for a public contract, will help you win that contract, will help you develop a stronger social value bid. So please do read these guides, because I think they're really, really useful. And especially if you're trying to promote yourself to larger organizations that are bidding and want to make the case for why you are a good organization to partner up with as part of their supply chain. Use the TOMS framework, because it'll help you articulate in financial terms how much value you are going to bring to their supply chain. Thanks very much. Next slide, please, Ben. Oh,
Sorry.
one more. Great. Thank you. So just in closing, one of the things that I wanted to share with you is the fact that we've recently launched an ideas wall. So at the Social Value Portal, we're absolutely committed to making the TOMS framework work for every organization. We don't want it to be something that is targeted at large corporate organizations. We want micro businesses, BCSEs, social enterprises of all sizes to be able to use the TOMS framework to help position their business in a positive way, to help win contracts, and also to help promote the fantastic work that you're already doing in a really, really constructive way. So we're absolutely committed to working with the National Task Force to continuously updating the TOMS framework. And we'd really like it if you could help us do that and make the TOMS framework more meaningful for social enterprises. So what we want to do is understand what's important to you. We want to know what we can include in terms of updates to the TOMS framework that will help you win contracts, that will help you promote yourself to be better suited to be part of local supply chains. So we really want you to have your say, because once we gather that information, we're then able to take that to the National Task Force and make a case for why additional measures that are specifically focused at highlighting the good work that you do can now be included in the framework. And when they're included in the framework, it means they're going to be helping you win contracts when public sector authorities are tendering these opportunities. So I've got the information there. You can log on to our website, www.socialvalueportal.com, or you can just click the link in here and you can access that. So I think there was just one question that I saw pop up in terms of the TOMS framework, and I'll quickly answer that before I finish. So it was really, how do we access the TOMS framework? So Alan, you can access this in two ways. You can either access it through the LGA website, that's the Local Government Association website, where they have the TOMS framework, and they've also signposted a list of videos and case studies on how the TOMS framework is used. Or alternatively, you can log on to our website, where again, you can download it for free.
Brilliant.
So thanks very much for your time, guys. And so thanks for the opportunity to share the work that we're doing at the Social Value Portal.
Absolutely, it's opening up markets that otherwise we may feel are shut, and just to highlight on some of what you said there, Cindy, is by being able to give feedback to the social value portal, it helps, and here's what it helps. So we've been speaking about how do we increase Black and African businesses and Asian businesses in the procurement supply chain so that they are a preferable choice. So as you see there within the TOMS, that it's got, ex-offenders, SMEs. No. We want one that is specifically that says African Caribbean, for those that use the term BAME. But BAME is too broad. We wanted to say Black businesses. Maybe that one is more specific. And that would be something that's called affirmative action. So as we look into affirmative action, we see, and you've probably heard this from BSWN also, as you see affirmative action, it is more about how can, if we access then procurements, we're then talking about economic opportunities to alleviate poverty. If we are not involved within the procurement, of which, personally, I think procurement is the top of the food chain in terms of income expenditure that is available beyond the grants, beyond the trades, beyond everything else. It is about procurement. That 3-4 year contract that you can get that will sustain you, and sustain your job, sustain your employees and everything else. That is really critical. So all that feedback then supports that. And currently, thanks to Cindy and BSWN, we're working with the Old Market site, the Soapworks. So through the Soapworks, we are really engaged with them at an early stage. So before they build, and as they build, we are involved in the social value part of that conversation around how would that social value be shaped out. Businesses from construction, when they start, how do we get businesses that are doing Black businesses to be involved as they grow to whatever other parts when it's finished? So all of that. So I think what's exciting is the build that's happened in St. Paul's haven't had all of that level of inclusion. But the ones that are now taking place, now we're seeing that level of inclusion. And through that level of inclusion, by us knowing what do you provide as a service and how you want to get involved, when we are there, we're then lobbying for you to be able to say, is this the social value that you want to do? Ex-offenders? I know Street to Boardroom does this. Maybe it's best that you connect with Street to Boardroom. Street to Boardroom come together. That's social value. If you work with Street to Boardroom, they'll help you to meet this benchmark. So that's the part about social value. But what I want us to get to now is the even more exciting part. I spoke to these gentlemen, GD and Felix, and we're speaking about procurement, and we're speaking about the challenges, and we're speaking about how can we break past and fast track businesses into procurement. And their experience is just overwhelming, and they're here with a solution that, trust me, this is a solution that every business needs in order to get into procurement. So I'll leave it there, and GD and Felix and the team, please take over. Thank you very much, Cindy. That was great. That was great.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Ben, if you don't mind, can I present from my screen instead? Is that all right?
It'll probably be a little bit smoother. Feel free.
Is that okay? Thanks, man.
GD, so do I need to share co-host with you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Felix is the one.
You've got it. Oh, okay. Brilliant, guys. That's great.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Ibs, and welcome everyone. I'm Felix, the DG. Didn't get a chance to introduce myself earlier. So I'm an associate director with at Bid Consulting, and I'm also the engagement manager for this particular partnership. So can you just confirm that you see my screen?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, we can. Good. Okay. Good. So we're going to be spending fairly short time with you here, just 10-15 minutes, and just to discuss with you about navigating complexities in the procurement landscape. So I'll take the first part of the presentation, and Jide will conclude, and then we're happy to take questions at the end of the meeting if anyone's got any. So, who are we? I'm sure, well, it is possible that maybe some of you might have heard the phrase, government is open for business. And it is so true. I mean, if you consider that SMEs and social enterprises are the lifeblood of the economy. And I know that, and this is very well publicized on government websites, I know by 2022, there's a plan for a third of government spend on goods and services to go to SMEs, and that includes social enterprises as well, either directly or through the supply chain. And what we're here to do is we're set up to support that, to support you, support suppliers, and guide them through that process. So we're a specialist bids, development, and contract management consultancy, and we help suppliers to navigate the complexities of public and private sector contracting. So then, our vision. If you consider that, like I said, the government is open for business, and they're committed to supporting social enterprises that either generate or hold social values, which we know is vital to the country's well-being and economy. If you consider that average tender win rate is about 30%, we're set up once again to become the trusted commercial delivery partner for businesses looking to do business with public and private sector contracting authorities. And we're set up to help increase your chances of winning contracts with these authorities. And that's what our mandate is. We're there to enable you and support clients to develop the best tendering documentation to achieve a high bid win rate. Of course, no consulting or consultancy can or should promise guaranteed 100% win rate, but your chances are very well improved when you engage professionals in this space, and that's why we're set up. And as a team, have a core team of
Can't hear you.
Yeah,
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
Give him a few minutes to see if he comes back.
no problem.
Okay, I think I'll just jump in now while we're waiting for Felix to reset his computer. So I think what he was just trying to say is introduce our team to you. I'm not sure where his page is now. Sorry, Ben, can you help me put back the slides through your screen so we can just continue? Vic, I'm not sure why I'm seeing it anymore.
It's all right. So Jidi's logged out. Ben just needs to do the share from his side.
Presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just put the presentation on, present, and then share your screen, Ben. All right.
We were here, Judy.
Yeah, sorry, bear me a second.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
We lost you there, Felix.
Yeah, apologies. If anything could go wrong, it would happen when I'm presenting. My system just shut down for some.
So I think we've taken control of the screen, and Ben's helping now with the slides.
No, it's back to Felix.
I've got it.
Felix now. Okay.
Yeah, it's back to me. So apologies.
So you were on our team?
Can you see? You still see my screen, right?
Yeah, that's it. Great.
Yeah.
Good. So apologies for that. So I was saying that we've got a core team of professionals with more than over 30 years of experience in this space, and expertise to effectively support our clients through the tender process. And so the question is, why are we interested in this partnership? I mean, besides the fact that, Judy and I, we have conversations, we have had conversations for many years, where both there's not already obvious, we're from the BAME community, and we're very passionate about using our professional skills to support our community. But it's not exclusive to our community. We just have a passion for our community. So this partnership was fairly obvious to us, and by extension, social enterprises, and how can we support these organizations to engage with public sector contracting authorities. We have professionals that have over 30 years of experience in managing multiple contracts with value. I mean, this is a fairly modest number, to be fair, values of over 400 million across multiple sectors, managing multiple products. And we have experience in tender strategy development, bid writing, tender evaluation and assessment. And these are all the specialist skills that an organization requires to win a bid. And appreciate that there's a lot of organizations that might not have dedicated commercial departments. And so we're set up to be the trusted commercial delivery partner of choice in helping you through that process. So Jide is going to take us through the different stages of tender management process and the typical challenges that maybe hinders people from engaging. And towards the end, we'll prefer the solution, what we offer, our services, and how we can help you navigate through that very complex space. So
I'll just tell you when to change screen. I can't see anything. You just want to click it. No, go back, go forward. Okay, so just to tie this with Cindy's presentation, and I will try, and Cindy, if I make any errors, please correct me. So the way we see ourselves is we see ourselves coming and building on all the good work that Sibs and Cindy have been doing. So as you've seen from this presentation, there's been a lot of engagement with buyers, with the buyer community. Social Value Portal has been instrumental as well in fighting for that case for social enterprises in getting a footing into the door by ensuring that local councils and public authorities and private sector companies as well start to take this issue of social value important and build it into their evaluation strategies and their criteria as well. So as Cindy mentioned, social value assessments will make up about 10 to 20 if we are lucky and we can push for that. Top limit, about 20% of what an evaluation will be made of. But there is still the 80%, and there is still the task of, first of all, understanding what these opportunities are. Felix, if you click. So the first step for any supplier will be to identify the right, and suitable opportunities. And one of the issues that we've found out is it sounds easy. It sounds easy to go on the website of local councils and look through all the opportunities that are out, but it's a lot of work. It takes you understanding what you're looking for, understanding and being able to interpret what the minimum requirements will be, as well as if this opportunity is something that matches your business. So our job will be to then, support you from that first stage of the identification of what a suitable opportunity is for you, by sitting down with you, understanding your business, understanding your capabilities and capacities outside of the social value element, because unfortunately you will not just be assessed solely on the social value piece. It gives us an advantage But what we want to do now is maximize that advantage by making sure our quality as well as our pricing strategies as well, added with the social value elements of our bid, push us over the line and give us that clear advantage, and we become the preferred bidders. So our job will be to understand your technical capabilities, understand what your pricing strategies are, help you with the interpretation of what the minimum requirements are for those bids, as well as ensure that you are not. Another issue that happens is a lot of small SMEs burn out very quickly by trying to bid for everything. So our job will be to help you identify the right match for you, or possibly identify a right match, but possibly also advise you to say, well, if you can do 50% of this, we believe if you partner with, X party, we believe that your tender put together will be, best in class, and you would stand a better chance of winning that bid. So sorry, Felix, can we go just click to challenges as well? So again, as mentioned, and I know I'm moving the conversation slightly away from the issue of social value. As much as social value will be, the basis of evaluation, I think we also need to, position ourselves to be taken seriously as businesses, first of all, as well. So before we can do that, we need to understand the requirements. We need to understand what tendering procedures these buyers will be using. And a lot of that, again, comes from, reading through, public sector regulations, or having the right SME skill to help you break down, when a contract notice is published, to help you, review and revise, the details to help you understand it in the language you're familiar with on your day-to-day work. Felix, if you keep going, sorry. Hello?
Ben was amazing.
I think he's dropped out again.
He's dropped out. Ben.
Ben, can you help us back up?
Ben's on this. Yeah, that's great to you. I think the administrative part of bidding is a challenge, and through the collaborative work we can fast track the access of African, Caribbean, Asian businesses in procurement, which is the main thing that we are heading on here. We don't want a delayed process and missing out again in the economics of the city. This is in our heads, it's like a radical economic, redistribution kind of program here. That each person does what they do best, and through collaborative approach we can achieve more. And we don't profess to have the skills and the expertise of the bid consulting team. Therefore, parts of what they do is what they do. If it's links in with social value, if it links in with the core part of just a procurement process anyway, and then chipping into the knowledge and expertise of Cindy, chipping into the knowledge and expertise and the network of SEUK. So we're not asking anyone to burn out. We're just asking that you understand the market opportunities, and you get ready to position yourself for those things. And where possible, we're just lining up a supply chain of each other to be able to actually really win some of these things. Thanks, Judy.
Okay, so I'll just power through the rest of this. We've had more than enough interruptions. Again, in summary, and building on what Sib said, our job and the intent of Bid Consulting Limited coming onto this, onto this program, onto this challenge, is to support and simplify the entire process as best as we can, to ensure that when you receive that, tender documentation, you're not discouraged from day one. Our job will be to sit with you, to break down, these tender documentations, walk you through what the evaluation criteria are, how best to respond to them, to support your team when you're writing the bids. Just based on the work I've done and previous experience, you'd be surprised how even the big multi-million-pound companies still struggle with, understanding the jargon, understanding how to effectively respond to tenders. So our role here will be, first of all, to make sure that from a tendering standpoint, you've put yourself in the best position, and building on the social value elements of your company and in your organization, hopefully that would then push you over the line and present you as the preferred bidder as well.
Oh, I think Jide might have been cut off as well.
Oh dear.
I think it is already summarized what our responsibility is and what we're supposed to be, what we're representing. We're your commercial delivery partner. We're supporting you throughout that tendering process. All the commercial jargon that maybe might not otherwise be understood by an SME or a social enterprise, we're there to support you, making sure that the language is correct. And managing that end-to-end process. And my role in that process is to work with the supplier and engage our consultants to make sure that you stand the best chance of winning. And that's ultimately. I mean, we'll send these slides. These slides are available. You already have a copy, Ben, so we can share these slides with the team, with the group later on. But that's the general gist of our role in this partnership.
Apologies, everyone. My network, I had network issues as well.
You're muted, Sid. Muted.
Do you have something to add before we open up for questions, comments, feedback?
Of it. Obviously, in slow time, I think once people have had a chance to look through what we're stating as our services, and I think we'll have more beneficial conversations at that point in time. I think what we just want to add to this is that we understand the public procurement in general is very complicated, and as much as SIBS portal done a lot of work to help improve the odds, that we believe that it's important that you get the right specialists help to help put everything together for you, to guide you through the process, and to most importantly demystify the whole concept of bidding for work. I think a lot of us feel like, oh, it's too big for us. This isn't something I, as a small SME, can do. I think our job here, and the reason why we came on board with this social challenge, is to help with that element. So thank you again, and apologies for the breaks in the presentation.
No, thank you very much, everyone. This is an important conversation at literally a very important time right now, as all businesses are looking at doing things better, looking at the impact of COVID and Black Lives Matter, all that is happening. I've always seen things that it's all about providing a service. If we're providing a service, we can keep the economy going. If we can provide a service that's Black-led, that means we can keep our community strong, resilient, and sustainable. So if we have any questions, I don't know how we're doing for time, but if we can just do any questions, any feedback. Yeah. If anyone has just got a question, I may not be able to see everyone on the screen, but Clayton, how are you doing, brother?
How are you guys? This is a question for obviously big consultants. Just wonder how much is you guys' fee? So how much do you charge? What's your daily fee? If you do like tender contracts, or do you work on commission? How does it work?
So the intent is to work mainly on commission.
Okay.
I think because again, this is about enabling and empowering people. We've decided that coming onto the social challenge, majority of our charges will be on a commission basis. So if we're helping you with, let's say, 100K contract, we will agree a percentage of the total value of that contract if one. Apart from that, what we intend to also do is, again, just to make sure that our efforts are taking, we're working with people, that are committed to going through the entire process, who will need your expertise, who will need your engagement to be able to pull together a bid. So we will be asking for a retainership. Again, with that will come us helping you identify the opportunities, assessing that they are a good fit for you, as well as telling you, sorry?
Sorry to interrupt. Is it just me, or I just feel like it keeps cutting out? Is it just my side?
No, it's not. Yeah, there isn't.
It's a bad line.
Yeah, the sound is bad.
It's a bad line, yeah.
Chidi, do you want to stop your video and just do audio? If you want to try it that way.
Yeah, let me try that. Yeah, spare me a second.
No problem.
Is that any better? Can you hear me?
Yeah. If you want to start again.
Yeah. So again, apologies. So like I said, the pricing structure that we are proposing is fundamentally going to be based on a commission basis, and we will be also requiring some form of retainership, because we want to work with people that are committed, people that have made that decision, that they are willing to put in the hard work that's required to move their business from where it currently is into the space where they can then bid and participate in public and private procurement. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail about pricing today, because it's as much as that is obviously we are providing a service. Our main reason for coming into this challenge is to empower and is to work with people and make sure that before we start to talk about how much do we need to charge, they understand that we as well, to us, this is us giving back, and this is us using our experience and what we've learned over the years, putting it back into our community as well, and ensuring that we support them in a way that is sustainable. We don't want to be too expensive that your bids aren't viable anymore. So we will work with suppliers. We will work with consortias. I know Ben is looking into how can we structure consortias with all the suppliers within the social network. So our intent is to work with everyone, see how best we can structure pricings or commission basis that will be fair and reasonable for the services we plan to provide.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Excellent.
Okay, quick one. Do you offer any training on the bid for companies?
So we can. That isn't part of our core business, but we definitely can. But like I said, I think the best way to learn is to go through one. There's a lot of training online, and there's a lot of things that we can tell you about, the entire bid process. But I think that the most important learning curve will be to actually get into it, get your teeth into it. And again, we are here, we have the experience, we've done this multiple times, and our job throughout the whole process will not be developing the bid for you, it will be assisting you and educating you on the best way to develop bids in the future. So, a year down from where we are today, you could have matured enough to understand the entire process end to end, and you feel like you're confident now, and you can go on and develop your bids independently. So part of our work will be educating and training your team, your members of staff as well, so they are confident in searching for the right opportunities, and how to respond to these opportunities, how to understand the evaluation criteria being set out by these contracting authorities, and how best to respond.
Fantastic. And I'll just add on that is that, you know, it's taken 4 years to find a team like Chile. I've been on this journey for 4 years looking for an organization that can do this on a commission basis. I believe in commission. You know, we all put in the work and then we get the rewards through that work. And yes, procurement is not just a you know, learn it today, do it tomorrow kind of thing. It's not a bid. And I think that learning process, that collaborative process, really is what is the fundamental part here. But myself and Ben, what we're looking at is the consortium development. So the pre-questionnaire part. So before it gets to the bid consulting parts, anyone that's interested would need to really, you know, fill in the form that explains what their business is, what they're doing, how they meet certain parts of their criteria, because, you know, they've got full-time jobs. We've got other projects. So if someone is interested in an offer, then it's really about filling in the pre-questionnaire. And then we know, okay, you could join with this person, you could join with this person, you could join with this person. Your pricing, we've got Rose on the call who'd be supporting us with accounting. And then trying to see where people can actually come together to be a consortium. And then if that's the consortium, then that will then be passed on to the big consortium team to make that consortium into something that works. Because most of the procurement wouldn't be a one person band opportunity. Although the social value parts can be, but the procurement part at most times probably wouldn't be. So we just need to think about, how do people really want to come together? How do they come together with pricing? And how do they come together with actually then being able to deliver that service? All right. Yeah, so do you have any other questions? John, hey.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for the presentation, guys. I missed a small chunk in the middle. So maybe this was explained, or maybe this is the consortium that you're talking about, Sibs. But one of our problems isn't necessarily the creating the documents, but it's the sourcing the actual contracts. And I was hoping maybe whether your consultancy or through this consortium, what kind of aid would a social enterprise such as us, we provide like youth services and community services and social enterprise space. But we really struggle to find contracts that are appropriate for us. Where would that come into this chain of events?
Sure. Judy, can I start and then you continue?
Yeah, please.
Cool. So there's two parts to this. There's the opportunities within SUK, as in the West of England Bi-Social Corporate Challenge, looking at the key things about their social value, because I think as a youth center, you probably fit more with social value parts. But then there's also other services that you could bid for, which are outside of the bi-social stuff. Maybe it's around education or its needs or its alternative provision. When it's something like that, then that would be what the bid team can provide. So they can provide in both ways within the bi-social supports, of which within the bi-social, I guess those clients are a little bit more aware of social enterprises. They are keen of getting that on board because they've already set how they want to support. And then there's the open market that doesn't know you. They don't care if you're social enterprise or not, but maybe they influence more about the government's objectives. And therefore they could support you in that way. So we're trying to support you in both sides of it, the lukewarm leads through bi-social and the very cold leads that may come through pro-contractor and other services like that. But of course, once we understand which are the segments that people as a whole are interested in, is it criminal justice? Is it youth and employment? Is it construction? Which part of construction? Then from there, we start to know which leads to look for. JD.
Yeah, no, thanks. So again, that was exactly what I was going to say. There will be two channels. It'll be us looking at what what contracting authorities have currently signed up to, the Buy Social Challenge. And our job, again, will be to liaise with them, try and understand how they are, structuring the specific opportunities for social enterprises, and how best we can then engage with them. And that will be something we would feed back to you and say, we've spoken to Bristol City Council for this specific segment. These are the opportunities that we believe you will be suited for. And also, as Sibs has mentioned, I'm not sure you're aware, but there is, the public contracts regulation that, every public sector organization needs to adhere to, that forces or mandates that every contract above £10,000 needs to be advertised. So a lot of these opportunities are out there. And like you said, the problem is finding where. So again, going back to what we've spoken about, part of what we will be delivering as a service is identifying these opportunities for you. Once we've had an understanding of your business and your capacity, then we can channel and focus our searches to best identify the suited opportunities for you to go on. So that will be part of the the activities that we will be providing. Once you've filled we do have a questionnaire, a supply questionnaire, onboarding questionnaire, where we would get your details, understand what are the key areas that you're interested in. Do you have experience in those key areas? Because again, a lot of these procurement opportunities have minimum requirements. They want to know that you've had at least 3 previous experiences in the field you're bidding for. So all of that will help us to identify, what opportunities we feel like fit for you today. And if it's not a perfect fit, again, the work that Ben and Sibs are doing, we can then say, well, we believe you fit 50% of this. If we can form a consortium within this ecosystem, then we have an opportunity to move you forward as an entity for that opportunity. So there will be a lot of us getting to know you, getting to know your business. But again, it will take me forever to list all the frameworks, the multiple frameworks that the government pushes out all these opportunities on. But our job will be to narrow that down, to make sure that at the end of every month, we can come back to you and say, within this region, within this segment, these are the opportunities we believe you can go for.
Okay.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Clayton.
Hi there. After obviously we've got the situation with Black Lives Matter, do you think there's more of a demand or people more open for BME business to get contracts now or tenders?
1 sec. Let me ask Nicola for that. Nicola, are you with us?
Hi, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of eating my dinner while I'm listening to everyone. Sorry.
It's all right.
That's my one. It's all right. I just got really hungry and I thought I'd eat while I was listening. So from the corporate partners that we work with at SCUK, we've definitely noticed that a lot of them have asked us which social enterprises within your network are led by not just BAME, though, because as Sib said, BAME is really broad. It's people from Black Afro-Caribbean backgrounds. They specifically have asked us to make those lists of organisations that either run by people from that background or those that support communities within that kind of category as well. So I personally have seen a big shift as a result of the Black Lives Matter movement that's just come about again recently. And I think what's really, really good about the conversation that I'm hearing is people, it's not just a moment thing. It's not something that I can see people just being, quite tokenistic at the start. It seems to be something that people are like, okay, actually this is going to be a long thing that takes to dismantle, and there's a lot that particularly people that come from white privilege have to do to dismantle this. They see that working with businesses that are run by people from those backgrounds as being a really impactful way of dismantling those systems. So, and they also recognise that it is a long-term thing. They can't just say, yeah, we want to do it now, like Deloitte saying, posting a black square or whatever on Instagram. They know that it's a longer process and that they're in for the longer term. So I've never seen a conversation like this happening before, so I feel positive about it, and I hope that the momentum keeps going past, obviously the protests are finished, but the momentum seems to be keeping going.
What about obviously the guys who's doing big consultancy? Do you feel like there's a movement happening regarding when it comes to tendering bids?
So just to add to what Nicola's been saying, I do believe there is a change in the awareness that something needs to be done specifically for this. So one of the recent experiences I've had personally is I was working with an engineering consultancy somewhere down in London, and as part of the pre-qualification questions now, local councils are now asking you to declare, what ethnicity you are. That shows that they are now tracking and monitoring what percentage of their spend goes to what ethnicity. So there is a change, and it's been enshrined into the procurement process in itself. And I think that will be beneficial for everyone, because then we can ask, you can then send in a freedom of information and say, what was the percentage this year, that went to black business? And, those are the numbers that, going forward, we'll be able to use to hold them into account. Then that can further be built into whatever, social values that they need to be tracking or monitoring. So this is an iterative process that will get better. Hopefully will get fairer for everyone.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Cindy, can you add on that question? Is this a moment thing, or is this
certainly? So it's interesting listening to everyone and the comments that are being made, because in the last couple of months, even from a social value perspective, so we kind of had our first conversation, I think it was even before the kind of lockdown, and bumped into each other based on our background from South Africa. And Nicola, what you mentioned about it being a long journey, and there needs to be multiple activities, not just a single march and then the fad is over. So definitely from a social value perspective, we at the Social Value Portal feel that it is timely, not just because of the incident that happened in America and that triggered the kind of knock-on awareness and raising the profile of this long-standing issue, but also the fact that as a result of COVID, we saw in terms of death rates, it's been shocking to see how many individuals from BAME communities have been hit with the virus. So it's not just from an economic point of view, it's from a health point of view, and understanding the linkages between that as well. So I think from our perspective, we see it as a holistic thing in terms of, well, yes, we need to start taking action. And from a social value perspective, this concept of affirmative action that we're talking about needs to be brought to the forefront, because that change only happens when there is effort and focus and push into that area of saying, Jide, you mentioned something about what percentage of contracts were allocated to BAME-led businesses. Well, that's actually one of the things that we're looking to kind of build on in the next iteration of the TOMS framework. So we want to understand what are these different aspects that we can start to build into the TOMS framework from a social value perspective, like percentage of contract spend, like not just, somebody saying, how are they classifying themselves as a BAME-led organization? Is it because they actually have a CEO, or is it because they actually have the majority of their workforce being from that population? So there's so many levels that we can tap into, because our clients definitely are more aware of it. So, we had a conversation with a client last week, and they were like, how can we put a value on that? You know, how can we start to leverage that and say, well, actually, yes, we know there is more value in allocating contracts, you know, or from a social value perspective, working with organizations from this background, because ultimately it's going to help address those long-standing social inequality issues. So absolutely, even from our perspective, we're very keen, which is, like I said, one of the reasons we've launched this consultation is because we want to hear these things from organizations like yourself. We want to show this demand, so then we can start to table these discussions with organizations like the LGA, with organizations like CCS in the Cabinet Office, who also sit on that National Social Value Task Force. And as you know, Sibs, you mentioned Claire Dove, who's the Crown Rep for VCSEs. She sits on that Social Value Task Force as well. And, you know, she's been a great advocate for trying to address these social inequalities. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing the demand. I think there's some great work that we can do. In fact, one of the things that we had a meeting about this morning was, how do we start to develop social value statements that organizations can publish on their website, just outlining from a social value perspective what their contribution is, what their focus is, and what their aspirations are. Because you mentioned something around contract opportunities and how you find contract opportunities. The flip side of that is how are you making it easier for those prime providers to identify you when they're also bidding for contracts? Because that is one of the key challenges that when I was working in procurement, and when we hold big market engagement events, suppliers are saying, yes, we want to work with organizations, but how do we find them? So there is some work for us to do, and we've talked about a regional social value task force in the Southwest, so we can start to put our heads together and say, well, you know, your organizations are based there, SE UK has that Buy Corporate Challenge. How do we, through the social value portal, through that bidding process into the TOMS framework, start signposting the work that you guys are doing at a regional perspective? So I think there's a lot of work for us to do, and I think if we put our heads together, we can definitely do some great and fantastic stuff.
Absolutely, and COVID has definitely just disrupted those plans of hosting Meet the Buyer events, so that you can, you know, meet the university, hear it from them, meet Wilmot Dixon and hear it from them, and the solutions and being able to be in that space. So at the minute, we're just doing the virtual thing. And in probably about March, April, we'll try and do our first physical Meet the Buyer event. So we've just had to delay a few things, but we are going to be doing more of these webinars, really focusing at the Buy Social Corporate Challenge, you know, increasing the membership. So if you're not a member, I'd definitely say be a member. And it's pretty simple, really. You want access to the social value stuff, that's what's involved. If you want access to the procurement stuff, that's what's involved. We want to bring these two conversations into one place, as Cindy and Nicole are saying, and that is what the network would be for those that are part of that network. Even if you're not part of that network, I'd say there's some support, but there isn't as much support as when you're a member, because the whole point about being a member is that we can monitor, we can track, we can support, we can influence through our collective data. I don't know if there's anyone who's got any comments, suggestions, or anything like that. I think our next conversation is about construction. That's what our next conversation is going to be. Alan.
Hi. Look, no, I haven't got any questions really, but I would like to say I'm really pleased to see this consortium process in action. It's developing and growing, and I think it's really important. Following on from the Black Lives Matter, I think it's really relevant too. In the COVID, I mean, we're never going back to normal, and it would be great if we could have a physical meeting, but I think in the meantime we should just stick with the digital. It's safe. So I think it's really great. I'm not quite sure how I can work with you guys yet, but now I know what you're doing, what you're up to, and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I can think about it and get back in touch. And I think it's exciting. Thank you very much for putting it all together. So Cindy, Nicola, Jed, Felix, and Sibs and Ben, you know, fabulous. Thanks very much. Great to see the other people as well that I know around. You know, it's great to see you. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Alan. Encouraging words, mate. Yes. Do you have any other? Oh, and we sent out a survey on the invite. Please do fill in that survey. That just helps out, as what GD was saying, just helps us to know who's interested in what, so we start compartmentalizing what services we're looking for, and also to know what's your interest. But we're going to follow up on that. And working with SEUK means that as the Bi-Social West of England, we've got the data for all the social enterprises in the West of England. So this is not just about those that are involved in this call. This is wider than those that are involved into this call. We really want to just support the sector, but through something that we do via BSWN, via Cognitive Paths, our interest will always lie on supporting more black and Asian businesses to get into procurements. That's really our focus. But through our contract with SEUK and through the services such as Social Value Portal, it's about supporting the whole network. So please do bear that in mind, that when we're talking about collaborations, we're talking about collaborations much broader than just ethnicity. We're talking about services that are based on people that are delivering services in general. That's it. You know, that's just the bottom line. It's just business and business and business again. That's the key part. Michelle, how was that today? Is that okay? Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. And it says 16. I can't see the other names. I saw Yoma. Yoma's my mentor. I like Yoma. Zulika. Yeah, it'd be great to just get some feedback from you, what you think about this. Are you a social enterprise? How are you finding it? Full circle. Thanks, no problem, John. Rush, thanks for all your comments. That's really been helpful. Piers, yeah, so I think it's just good to understand a bit more. Hey, Piers, how we doing, mate? You all right? Yeah.
I'm good, thank you. You okay?
Yeah, good, man. How's are you aware of Social Enterprise UK? Are you aware of the Bi-Social Corporate Challenge things, or is everything new, or you just, you know?
It's all new to me, yeah. So I wasn't particularly aware of it beforehand. So it's all been new and really eye-opening, and I've got lots of things to take away back to the team and to my business to just think about, really, and to just explore more. So I've got lots of notes to go away and just to find out more about it, really. And I'd probably like to connect with more people off the back of this as well, and just chat about kind of best ways to get into stuff and just to find out more.
So which way are you looking at it? Are you looking from as your business diversifying your supply chain, or are you looking at your business being involved in other procurement opportunities?
I think it's more, I think a bit of both, really. I think I hadn't really thought about our supply chain much before. So now knowing that there's different routes to kind of find suppliers is really, really valuable. And then I think it's always good to know about different ways to procure work in the future. But I wouldn't want to do it as a kind of token gesture. I guess it would be more about how can we maybe set something else up, or I don't know, just think about it quite carefully, really, about what we could use.
Yeah, brilliant. So I've just been, okay, I'm coming. We've been working with peers on developing the Black History Month websites, as the team have provided just like some pro bono support on doing the site map and all that stuff. So I think sometimes businesses don't even see what is social value or how they can embed social value in some of their stuff. So as Cindy was saying, that social value statement. So for you, it's really been about your corporate volunteering you know, you could say, and that's just like a step forward, just starting with the social value and then thinking about your supply chain and everything else. So yeah, but thank you very much for your support, and thank you very much for joining the call.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Michelle, was that a hand up or just a pen? Oh, it's a hand up. All right, cool. Just unmute yourself if you can, or you want me to, I'll unmute you. Yep. Does that work?
You were just saying thanks. I didn't have anything to say. Just saying thanks. It was
Oh,
very
you're saying
informative.
thanks.
Yeah, sorry, because my mic wasn't working properly just now.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, great. We are actually on time to the minute. So that is really fantastic. I think along the way I was feeling like we've gone over by so many hours, but it just goes to show about the importance of this conversation, both in terms of really a tool that can eradicate some of the levels of inequality, but also a tool that can support to scale and support businesses to be businesses and trade as equal. And it also is a great opportunity to see how we can then utilize that economic benefit, economic multiplier to really support our communities and our neighborhoods, especially supporting those that are furthest away from the marketplace. You know, I see the work that Clayton does with those from an ex-offender background. I can see that really just, you know, flowing in very well with the social value part of it, but also himself. You know, I've always seen Street to Boardroom as one of those businesses that's been very innovative in winning procurements in even in Somerset Police, which there isn't many Black young businesses that are actually within that service. I've always said, like, you, Clayton, you in procurement. He says, what are you talking about? So you in procurement. So that's really been great to just, but you know, there's more. And and as this sector grow, what's really important is, you know, there's no competition here. The market is untapped. So if there's 5 of you or 10 of you in the same sector, the market is untapped. The market is so big that it requires more and more and more and more. You know, speaking to Wilman Dixon and the 26 different sites that they're working on in the Southwest alone, that doesn't need one construction business. It doesn't need one cleaning business. It doesn't need one catering company. It needs multiple. So there's no competition on this thing. Just so everyone gets that market value. So there's no competition because the market is so open. So really think about your businesses. Think about where you want to make it grow. But really, as Biggie said, you know, sky's the limit. So I'd like to say thank you very much to all of our callers. If you got anything that you want to just say, just to wrap up, I'll start with Cindy, and then we go to Nicola, and then we go to the guys. Anything just to round up, that'd be really great.
Yeah, just to say thanks everyone for your time and for giving us the opportunity to come and share the work that we're doing at the Social Value Portal. Just a last push again, please do go on to our ideas wall and you know, really feed in your comments, because we really want to make social value work for social enterprises. We think it's an opportunity for us to help you win those contracts, because sometimes contracts, you know, having worked in procurement, contracts are won on a margin of a couple of percent. So you know, the more contracting authorities are pushing up that social value weighting, the more opportunity it is for you to win more business and get part of the delivery model. So thanks again, Sib, for having us. Thanks, guys.
No problem, Cindy. Anytime. Nicola.
Yeah, thanks, Tibbs, just for organising this event. It's always really important to keep these conversations going. But if anyone around the table is a social enterprise, running a social enterprise, sorry, or you're kind of supporting the social enterprise sector in any way, and want to know more about how you could connect with more social enterprises or connect with us, then I'm happy for you to just email Sibs and get an introduction to me, and we can talk about becoming a member, or if you're not a social enterprise, how you can also access that community. So happily just ask Sibs for an intro to me, and then he can share my details.
Brilliant, definitely will do. Jide and Felix.
I think we're having technical difficulties, so I'll speak to both of us if that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just to say thank you for the opportunity, and Sibs, I've spoken to Ben, and you know how excited we are with this partnership. We're very keen to support these organizations in hopefully winning bids with these contracting authorities. So any opportunity, any questions, if anybody wants to engage, they can obviously reach out to you, and you can let us know. We're very happy to support any way that we can.
Brilliant. Ladies and gents, please, thank you very much for this evening. It's a pleasure, and we look forward on engaging with you further, because this conversation doesn't stop here. Our work is just literally at the beginning. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ben, just hold on, yeah? Cheers. Mr. Clay!
Stay with us?
Yeah. That's Mr. Clay, man. No joke. I've just had too much water. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, guys.